Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever walked past a pickup truck in a parking lot and wondered what it's actually built to do? We see these machines every single day, yet most of us just kind of look right past their engineering. Well, today we're turning a simple glance at a vehicle into a complete masterclass in visual utility assessment. We're going to transform you into an absolute expert at reading a vehicle's true purpose using nothing but your own eyes and a structured step-by-step approach. So that brings us to our core question for today. How do you evaluate a truck's true utility just by looking at it? When you're shopping, or honestly even just observing, it is so easy to get caught up in the flashy marketing noise and the shiny paint jobs. But today, we're cutting right through all of that. We're looking purely at function. Every single curve, gap, and proportion on a vehicle is a deliberate engineering choice, and I'm going to show you exactly how to decode them. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a 4-step front-to-back visual roadmap today. Step 1, the front fascia. Step 2, evaluating the cab. Step 3, checking ground clearance. And Step 4, the cargo bed. All right, let's kick things off with Step 1, the front fascia.
Your eye should immediately go straight to that massive layered black grille dominating the front end right there between the prominent headlights. When you're doing a visual inspection, you want to assess how much surface area is actually dedicated to letting air in. This wide-open front end, it definitely isn't just some styling choice meant to look aggressive in a rearview mirror. That huge grille is literally engineered to gulp massive amounts of air to keep a high-output engine cool, especially when it's under a heavy load, like towing a heavy trailer up a steep grade.
Let's just pause for a second to make sure we've got the vocabulary down. Fascia is the term you really need to know here. It refers to the front-facing exterior elements of a vehicle. So, the grille, the headlamps, and the bumper, all working together as one cohesive unit. When you look at the fascia, you're essentially looking at a battle between aerodynamics and cooling. A sleek, closed-off fascia, that screams highway fuel economy. But a tall, blocky, wide-open fascia, that screams heavy-duty thermal management. Moving visually backward along the vehicle, we hit Step 2, evaluating the cab.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the sheer scale of the passenger compartment. Just count the doors. We're looking at 4 full-sized front hinge doors. In the auto industry, this is generally known as a crew cab configuration. Just by clocking that vast interior volume from the outside and spotting those large rear window panels, you instantly know this truck is designed for maximum passenger comfort. It's built to carry an entire family or a whole work crew in the exact same comfort as the driver.
Let's contrast what this actually means structurally. A traditional work truck usually features a regular cab, just 2 doors, a front bench seat, and max focus on cargo space in the back. But what we're analyzing right now is a dual-purpose hauler. With its crew cab and 4 doors, it fundamentally balances passenger comfort with cargo capability. That specific structural layout dictates its entire identity. It tells you instantly whether the vehicle is a pure tool meant for a job site or a versatile daily driver meant to drop the kids at school before heading over to the lumberyard.
Okay, moving our eyes down a bit brings us to Step 3, checking ground clearance. I want you to focus directly on the dark alloy wheels wrapped in those rugged-looking tires. Now look at the dark, empty space between the top of the tire and the fender above it. That wheel well gap is a huge visual indicator of suspension travel. Basically, the larger the gap, the more the wheel can articulate over uneven terrain. Also, take a note of the black side steps running along the bottom edge of the cab doors. They definitely aren't just decorative. They're a really vital clue about the truck's overall height. So the crucial point here is this physical trade-off. High ground clearance gives a vehicle commanding off-road capability, allowing it to clear rocks, deep snow, or debris without scraping its undercarriage. But that capability comes at a pretty big cost for everyday use. The vehicle sits so high off the ground that the manufacturer actually had to install side steps just so regular passengers can get in and out without pulling a muscle. When you see side steps, you're literally looking at a bridge between extreme capability and daily human convenience.
And finally, we transition to the rear for Step 4, the cargo bed.
Direct your attention to the back half of the truck. The first thing you'll want to assess is the proportion of the bed length compared to that massive cab we checked out earlier. Visually, this is a relatively short bed. Now let your eyes drift to the upper rear corner of the bed side, right near the taillight. See that subtle red decal that says 4x4? That is a massive shortcut in your visual inspection. It visually confirms the truck's 4-wheel drive capability without you ever having to crawl underneath in a parking lot to look for a front differential or a transfer case.
Let's break down the utility of that bed length, because this brilliantly illustrates the overall theme of automotive compromise. A traditional long bed gives you absolute maximum capacity for hauling bulk materials, like full sheets of plywood with the tailgate closed. However, attach a long bed to a long cab, and the truck becomes incredibly difficult to park and maneuver in a city. A short bed, like the one we've identified in our inspection, gives you vastly easier maneuverability, but severely limits your long cargo capacity. It's essentially the ultimate physical compromise made to accommodate that spacious four-door cab.
All right, let's bring all of this together into a practical toolkit. Here's your rapid-fire visual inspection checklist. Next time you're walking through a parking lot or a dealership, just use this framework. Number 1, assess the front fascia to understand its airflow and cooling needs. Number 2, count the doors to instantly gauge the passenger priority. Number 3, check those wheel well gaps for clues about ground clearance and off-road intent. Number 4, estimate the bed length relative to the cab size to understand the cargo compromises. And number 5, scan the exterior for capability decals, like that 4x4 badge, for instant mechanical confirmation.
Which brings us to the end of our visual analysis, and to a question I really want to leave you with. Based on this new visual vocabulary you've just learned, does the utility of your current vehicle actually match your daily needs? If you walk outside right now and perform this step-by-step inspection on your own vehicle, what story is the sheet metal actually telling you? It's just a fascinating way to look at the machines we drive every single day. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take this checklist out into the real world. Keep your eyes open and keep analyzing.